Hi there and welcome along to Upping the Ante in association with 188Bet. With me, David Jennings, him, Gavin Lynch, and we've got Tom Earl this week from our sponsors 188Bet because Chris Graham, well, he's out walking the course. So Gavin, we've only got 3 weeks to go now. The excitement must be incredible in the Lynch household.
Unbelievable. 21 sleeps, Dave, 21 sleeps.
Did you get that off the kids for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
counting down
can't
the
wait.
sleep. Yeah, no, it's getting really, really close now. And because it's getting so close, possibly the last weekend of clues was last weekend. And,
Yes.
and there certainly were clues. And starting off with a look, I suppose, ahead to the Ryanair chase, waiting patiently, was breathtaking, wasn't he?
He was brilliant, and it was one of the best races of the season so far. The gallop they went was like a 2 mile pace, wasn't it? And the performance cue card put in was brilliant. He won the race twice before, but waiting patiently, he's 6 from 6. But the big question now is whether he's going to run in Cheltenham or not.
Yeah, and I know Ruth Jefferson has said that Cheltenham isn't the be-all and end-all. She's a bit worried about the track. Everybody's a bit worried about the ground. 3-1 with 188Bet, joint favourite with Undersow. Would you be taking that?
I think if you're going to back him, you'd have to back him non-runner, no bet, because he's 7-1 in the exchanges because people don't know whether he's going to show up. And obviously it was a fantastic victory for the Jefferson family with Malcolm having been buried last week. So, yeah, waiting patiently. He's 6 from 6 over fences. He's a horse possibly that I'd love to back for the King George maybe, because you think he would run in that next Christmas. But just the ground is the thing. The owner said that he won't go unless they're soft in the description. Last year the ground was good on the Thursday when Undersow won, so I don't know. I'd say it's probably odds on that he won't run.
So if I was to give you a choice to back Undersow at 3-1 or waiting patiently 3-1, you'd have no question which one?
No question, yeah, definitely Undersow, yeah. And some of those, it's hard to. Willie Mullen said over the weekend that Duvan and Mill will stay to 2 miles. Fox Norton was pulled up in the King George. Top Notch was well beaten on Saturday. As was Frodon and Coney Island ran quite poorly in the same race.
Quite poorly?
Well, he was pulled up, yeah.
Devastation.
Yeah.
A shambles of a performance.
No, he's not in good form at the minute.
What the hell happened Coney Island?
I don't know. He ran a similar race the last time. He got detached, jumped a bit slow, and then he caught back up again. But this time he was gone at halfway, wasn't he?
I was watching the race, and obviously I fancied Coney Island, and you're kind of going, you know, he's going to get into it now. He's going to get into it now. And then Barry just pulled him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah, no, they don't know what's wrong with that horse at the moment, yeah.
And if you stay tuned to later in the show, I will actually be tipping a horse for the Ryanair chase that's not even in the betting, Gavin.
Very good.
Could you guess? Don't guess now, but could you guess?
No.
Okay.
With you, Dave, no.
Stay tuned. Okay, so our first question, which is related to the Ryanair chase, is to Tom. And Tom, who will start favourite for the Ryanair, and who is your worst loser in the race?
The Ryanair is shaping up to be one of the most complicated races from an anti-post perspective, both in terms of running plans, who's going to run in what, and ground requirements. Undersow would undoubtedly be our worst result. I can't see anything else going off favourite, but he needs softer ground. Waiting patiently after his great win at Ascot over a rejuvenated cue card looks an obvious danger, but he's only going to run on softer ground, and connections seem to be favouring swerving the Cheltenham Festival completely. I think the angle is looking for good ground performers, and actually one of my most confident selections of the whole week on decent grounds would be Fox Norton. He loves the track, he loves decent grounds, and I can't see horses like Undersow being anything like quick enough to beat him on decent ground come the festival. At 5-1 now, non-runner, no bet. He looks to have a great chance. I just hope connections don't look to run him in the champion chase instead. Frodon surely be ridden a little bit more restrained at a decent price. Has a good each way chance. As I said, our worst result will be Undersow. So many imponderables though with the ground. I'd really fancy Fox Norton on good spring festival ground at 5-1. Rates a decent bet.
Okay, Tom, very interesting indeed. And also at Ascot on Saturday, we saw an exceptional performance from Black Horton. And Aoife, if you're watching, stop watching now. Bryony Frost, Gavin, I love her. I just love her. Yeah, I do.
And you're engaged.
If something ever happened to me and Aoife, which touch wood, she doesn't come to her senses, Bryony Frost would be the girl for me.
She's very good.
Did you see her interview after the race?
I didn't.
Oh my God, I fell in love with her.
Really?
Yeah. She's just so exuberant, exciting.
Like you.
Yeah, she is. I think we'd be a great match. But she gave Black Horton a fantastic ride, and she gets on well with the horse.
Yeah, I mean, it sets a very, very good standard. It looks like it's going to be the main UK hope. It's now won 8 times over fences since last June, that's fair going. But I think because it won in the summer, then people kind of dismiss horses like that for Cheltenham. But Black Horton's very, very good horse.
You're so good, Gavin. When this horse was beaten in a novice chase in Worcester during the heat of the summer, you said that horse would win the honor side.
No, I did not.
He's improved out of all recognition, but
Yeah.
is he in the same class as Presenting Percy?
On official ratings, he's only a couple of pounds behind. Presenting Percy's 157 and Black Carton's 155.
And on Gavin
so
Lynch
not in it.
ratings?
I'd sooner have Presenting Percy, definitely. I don't think it did its chances any harm on Saturday when it was second Duke. What did you make of the performance?
We'll come to that race later. It was very informative with regard to the main race at the festival. And Elgin over at Wincanton, a race that Alan King does tremendously well in. And Elgin, it was a performance I think that surprised most people. I don't think we thought he would win so convincingly, and certainly his starting price suggests that we didn't. And he looks like he's going to be supplemented for the Champion Hurdle now.
Yeah, it's 20 grand to supplement him, but they might as well, because it's anybody's guess who's going to be second or third in the Champion Hurdle.
Could be him.
We're all presuming that Bouverdere will win it, but Elgin would have a decent chance. He's won the Greatwood Hurdle. He was then 6th in a decent handicap hurdle, which we'll come to later on. But he was very impressive in Wincanton. They went a mad gallop. He travelled great, jumped well. He won easy, so.
Yeah, he certainly did.
His rating going into the other day, I think, was in the low 150s. And obviously Bouverdere is 169, so he's a lot to catch up, but he could be second or third.
This is completely off the top of my head now, but would I be right in saying the last horse to win the Greatwood and the Champion Hurdle was the Great Rooster Booster?
I'd say you could be right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
Well done.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I could be wrong. I'm not looking forward to checking that after the show. And we saw a good staying performance also from Chef de Zobo, I thought.
Yes, not a horse that you loved back at Christmas, but yeah, he was very impressive at Haydock. The ground at Haydock was, like you'd imagine that ground at Listowel or Sligo or Cork can be brutal, but Haydock gets really bad. Did you see the Grand National trial?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if either myself or yourself started at the final fence when Yala Enki jumped it, would we have got to the winning line quicker? Genuinely.
On a moped, maybe.
Running though, no?
No.
Okay.
But there was a horse cruising at the third last. By the time he got to the second last, he pulled up from exhaustion.
Yeah.
But Chef de Zobo did it very well. It won by 15 lengths. It's won his last 3. Now, it did get beat before by Santini, who's the stable companion. That was 2.5. The Bartlett obviously is 3 miles. If there was such a thing as a National Hunt hurdle over 4 miles, Chef de Zobo would be favoured to win it. Because he stays forever.
Well, interestingly enough, I said at Christmas that Chef de Zobo had no chance in the Albert Bartlett, and I've completely turned full circle.
Lovely.
And part of that decision was from Henry de Bromhead, who spoke about Monolly last year in the Albert Bartlett. He said no horse can win this race unless it's ran or won over 3 miles.
Very good.
And interesting, last year Penhill obviously won the race at Limerick, 3 miles. And I think Chef de Zobo, who is going to be my first tip of the day, Chef de Zobo, I just think he's one of these, it always turns into a slog. What happens is, they go too quick. These young horses who are stayers are not used to it. They get taken out of their comfort zone. You look at the horses over the years that have got beaten in this race.
Yeah.
Even Death Duty last season. It doesn't really suit young horses going so fast and having travelled so far. He's a guaranteed stayer.
Guaranteed stayer.
He might lack the class of a cracking Spark or if a Next Destination runs in the race, but he's going to be the one that's going to be staying on up the hill. And I think even 8-1 could look big on the day.
The thing that'll really suit him is the Friday track. Is they turn in, there's 3 furlongs to go up that hill. They've already gone too quick, as you say. They start racing at the bend. So if he's with them at the bend, he'll be hard to pass maybe, but you just question whether he'd be able to lie up with them on quicker ground.
And he needs to jump better as well. But 8-1 each way, I think that's certainly a bit of value, and I think he'd be shorter on the day because some of these runners might go for the Ballymore. And moving across to Ireland, our home track, Gorham Park on Saturday, Gavin, the Red Mills Chase. Obviously there was no Duvan, but we knew it was going to be a cracker. But did we know it was going to be so exciting? What a race.
It was a great finish. 2 very, very good horses, Our Duke and Presenting Percy. They finished a long way clear of Ballycasey and Toyfell. I don't think, as we were chatting earlier, I don't think the two of them did their chances for Cheltenham any harm. Our Duke to win over that trip, considering he's won an Irish National over 3-5, he has to have a chance at the Gold Cup. He's around a 10-1 shot now. The Gold Cup has started to hot up over the last couple of weeks. And Presenting Percy, for a novice, okay, he was getting £7 from Our Duke, but you'd have to say he ran very well. And
Gavin, you're probably slim enough to be a jockey. If you were Robbie Power, would you be riding Sizen John or Our Duke? Forget the ties to the Potts family. You're given the decision. Who do you ride?
You've got to stay with the Gold Cup winner. He'll definitely ride Sizen John, I'd say, if he's fit on the day.
Well, he is.
I mean, you'd have to go with Gold Cup winner. Ruby Walsh did the same with Cato Star and Denman, didn't he?
Yeah. Didn't work out though, did it?
It didn't, no. You're right.
I think Our Duke is a better chance than Sizen John.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think the first 4 fences in the Gold Cup is going to be absolutely paramount for Our Duke. If he gets into a rhythm, he reminds me, he's obviously not as good, but he does remind me of Denman. He's a grinder, he's a galloper. a lot of them will be taken out of their comfort zone if he gets into a rhythm.
Himself and Native River will be up the front anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're going to need to stay. So it will be very, very interesting to see how our Duke gets on. So our question to you, Tom, is if you were Robbie Power, who would you ride in the Gold Cup, Sizing John or our Duke?
Well, in some ways, a really enviable situation for Robbie Power, but in others, a really, really tough decision to have to make. I don't think you could ignore Sizing John, who he won on last year. I mean, he's the reigning Gold Cup winner. He's been there, done that at Cheltenham numerous times, chasing home Duvan and then famously winning the Gold Cup last year. I think he had to stick with Sizing John, and I think he's the more likely winner of the two, in that we know he'll thrive under festival conditions. Our Duke was very impressive at the weekend in beating Presenting Percy. Okay, he's a true stayer. He does have the tendency to hit a few fences, but our 188 bet Ambassador Noel Feely comes in for a ride, and he's got a great chance. So I say, tough decision for Robbie Power, but if it was me, I'd have chosen Sizing John too.
So there you go. That's 2 votes to Sizing John in the Robbie Power conundrum. And our final question, which ties in nicely because Noel Feely has come in for the ride on our Duke, is now that Noel Feely has picked up the ride on our Duke and Monolly, 2 cracking spares to get, has he got an outside squeak of being top jockey? And do you have a fancy in that market, Tom?
Noel's definitely one of the top jockeys in the weighing room at the moment and riding out of his skin. He's a 188 bet ambassador, writes a weekly blog for us on the site. He'll be giving us regular updates throughout the Cheltenham Festival. I'm going out on the road with him. Quite a few Cheltenham Festival previews in the next few weeks too, so be interesting to see what he says. But I know he loves If the Cap Fits. He's got some great chances in the novice hurdles. Somerville Boy as well, Chef des Obeaux, Monolly now in the RSA. Likes of old timers like Special Tiara, obviously now picked up the ride on our Duke, who'd have a great each way chance in the Gold Cup. Bullionaire potentially in the bumper, and I'm sure he'll have some nice horses in some of the handicaps. In an open year where there isn't a sort of standout certainty like Ruby Walsh has been in the past, 4 winners might be enough. And Noel's got a decent book of rides and definitely has a squeak of being a top jockey at the festival this year.
Well, Tom, we will be back to you next week to find out exactly what Noel Feely has said to you in confidence. We don't want to know about the stuff that he says on preview nights. We want to know about the stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're sitting down having a quiet pint. That's the stuff we want to know, Tom. So keep it for Upping the Ante next week and the following week.
We won't tell anybody.
No, we won't tell a soul. We'll keep it to ourselves. Don't worry. Okay, so stay tuned to find out what Noel Feely says to Tom Earl in the coming weeks on Upping the Ante. Gavin, top jockey at the Cheltenham Festival. It's always Ruby Walsh. Will it be Ruby Walsh this year?
He's won 9 out of the last 10. He's won 11 of the last 14, which is an amazing record. Willie Mullins is even money to be top trainer. Ruby is probably, I don't see any betting on it just at the moment. I couldn't see any, but I think he's maybe 4 to 6 twos on. But do a little treble. Ruby Walsh to be top jockey. The ground to be good to soft on the first day. That'll be probably twos on as well. And Ireland to win the Pressbury Cup. They're 8 to 11. And
can you do that treble?
I don't see why not.
It's not related bet or anything?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, that's an interesting little treble.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the 3 questions taken care of, and now it's time for the most exciting part of the show. It's Gavin Lynch's anti-post fancy for the Cheltenham Festival, and we're into double figures now, Gavin.
Yeah, we've run.
We need a new screen, I think.
Get a bigger television.
Now, before we come to your selection, did any of these do any harm to their chances in the last 7 days?
I see that last week Cause of Causes went over for a spin along with Tiger Roll for a spin around the cross-country fences, which obviously is a good idea.
Were you there, no?
I wasn't allowed to go. But no, I don't see. I think Undersow's chances have improved since the weekend.
Yeah.
But that's probably it.
You think his chances have improved since the weekend because a horse put in a brilliant performance and is now joint favourite for the Ryanair?
Yeah, and I don't think he'll run.
That's a roundabout way of thinking about it.
And I think a couple of the other ones that were dangers have disappeared.
Okay, so the only one you're really forgetting about here is the Sport de Laine, is it?
Sport de Laine, yeah. And obviously, where is Fountain's Windfall, which is a pity.
He probably hoped he would.
But just he was going it's a pity because he was going to beat probably Black Carton at Christmas, so
yeah,
that was a pity.
Yeah.
But this time,
great to see Regal Encore winning for Anthony Hollyball at the weekend as well. Okay, so what are we going to add to this list, Gavin?
This week it's Hunter's Call for the County Hurdle. I think he's got a massive chance. It was trained by a small trainer in Ireland. No disrespect to the man at all. He won a 2.5 mile bumper on good ground, which is
what was his name?
Very relevant. John Nealon.
All right, I'll catch you out there.
No, and it also won a 2 mile maiden hurdle. Then was North from 8, and now it's joined Ollie Murphy. It ran in the Racing Welfare Handicap Hurdle in Ascot. Big race there just before
Formerly
Christmas.
the Labrook, yeah.
Yeah. So second was Silver Streak that day, who fell since. Verdana Blue was a good horse. The ground that day was good to soft. Verdana Blue loomed up in the Betfair Hurdle, but the ground was too soft for that day. Fourth that day was Blue at Rouge, who was second in the Betfair Hurdle, and sixth that day was Elgin, who came out and won at the weekend. So the form of that race is very good. He's only gone up £9 at the moment to 137. Last year in the county hurdle, 6 horses got in at 135 and 1 got in at 134, so he should get in. Another horse that trainer had before was Poorman's Hill, who recently has joined Gordon Elliott, and he's won 6 out of 9 since he went to Gordon. He's improved £32 over hurdles, 33 over fences, so I think there's more to come.
Poor hell, John Neal, I hope you're not watching.
Yeah, no disrespect, but just sometimes horses can improve for a change of yard. But
no disrespect, but
I think the 137, he absolutely bolted up. He travelled really well, he jumped great, he won very easily. And the one thing is, because he's won over 2.5 miles, the county hurdle is on the Friday track, the new course. They race early, there's 3 furlongs after they turn in. He definitely stayed the trip because it's almost 2 miles, 1 furlong. So I'd be very sweet each way on Hunter's Call, provided Off You Go doesn't go for that race.
And the weights for that are out next week, so that's going to be very interesting. And you are convinced that he'll get into the race?
Yeah, well, as I said to you, he was put up to 137, and Ollie Murphy said afterwards he's going to keep him straight for Cheltenham because he didn't want to get another penalty.
And I spoke to Ollie Murphy at Leopardstown for during the Dublin Racing Festival, and 2 interesting things he told me. One was that Hunter's Call was in great form, and it's definitely his best chance, obviously, of a first Cheltenham Festival winner. And the second thing he told me was not to give up on a horse called Oxford Blue, who he said has a squeak in the Fred Winter, and it ran yesterday at Market Raisin and was just beaten on the line, beating the neck at 9-1.
Did you back it? No?
No, but I just felt sorry for Ollie. Yeah, so there you go. That is Gavin Lynch's latest fancy. It's Hunter's Call in the county
I think
hurdle.
he's 12 to 1 or so.
On Friday, so it could be recouping losses on the Friday.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to my second fancy. I'm getting 2 this week, Gavin.
Good.
Yeah, I'm getting 2. And my second fancy, as we said earlier on in the show, was in the Ryanair Chase. It's a horse that was not even in the betting for the Ryanair Chase. If we have a quick look at the 188 prices on the Ryanair Chase, not even in the betting. Underso, Waiting Patiently, Duvan, Fox Norton, Min, Top Notch, York Hill, and my selection is Balco de Flo, trained by Henry de Bromhead. Gigginson have obviously never won the race that they sponsor, but I think this is their best chance. I really do.
Okay.
I know First Lieutenant ran in the race, but he's 10 to 1 with 188 bet. I think he's got a cracking chance. He's rated 164. Sub Lieutenant, who ran so well in the race last year, was rated 161. This is a better horse. And Underso never missed a beat last year. I just wonder, will we see the same Underso this year as we did last year? Didn't look quite as good at Ascot last time. Sparedek didn't do the form any great favours in the Ascot Chase.
Do you think Balco de Flo might take on Underso or not up front?
Oh, no, it doesn't need to. No, absolutely not.
behind him.
I think if the Galway Plate performance is that type of ride, I think suits Balco de Flo, just sitting in behind. You know, he's a good horse when you look through his form, like second to Road to Respect. Probably just didn't get home that day. Ran a cracker, has been put away, has been kept fresh for the race. And the key thing here is, if you look through the betting, obviously, Underso is favoured, he'll probably run. Waiting Patiently is probably 50-50 whether he'll run.
Yes.
Duvan surely won't run in this race.
No.
Fox Norton, I've
Jury's
given
out.
up on Fox Norton. I just don't think he's the horse he was, although Tizzards are in better form. Min is likely to go for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Top Notch was woefully disappointing, and I just wonder with Top Notch, he doesn't have that much size and scope, and I just wonder, is all this racing get? I don't know if he's going to get any better.
Yes.
I just think he might have reached his peak maybe.
He was beaten 20 lengths on Saturday.
Yeah, he was disappointing. York Hill is...
Won't go there either.
Yeah, York Hill, I think he'll end up in a fun fair ride somewhere. But I think it is a race with so many ifs and buts about the leading contenders, whether they'll run or not. Throw in Jackadam, Coney Island, Benny's the Jew, Gold Present, Q Card might be going for the Gold Cup now. Kilulta Vic is probably going for the Gold Cup. Bell's Hill, then you're down to like... You're just wondering where the runners are going to come from. You know Balco de Flo is going to go for the race. You know he's rated 164, so he's good enough to be a leading contender in the race. And he's got that Grade 1 form. I think 10 to 1 is a big price about a horse who's guaranteed to run, yeah? So Balco de Flo is my second selection today for the Ryanair Chase. You kind of approve. You're giving me a few nods along the way there.
Maybe without Underso.
Really?
But just...
Yeah, Underso has got a favourite's chance. So Gavin, 3 weeks to go. This time next week we'll be standing here and there'll only be a fortnight to go to the Cheltenham Festival. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
Asher 11. I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Don't ask me questions.
This will tell you how hard it is to train a winner at Cheltenham. How many winners between them had the following trainers last season at Cheltenham? Alan King, Dan Skelton, John Joe Neal, Nigel Twiston-Davis, Colin Tizard and Harry Fry.
Right, if I didn't, like, if you weren't asking me the question,
You
knowing that there was a trick answer, I would have said 5.
Yeah,
Given that you're asking the question, I'll say 0.
Yeah, 0, yeah. But it's amazing, isn't
Call
it?
out them trainers again.
Alan King, Dan Skelton, John Joe Neal, Nigel Twiston-Davis, Colin Tizard and Harry Fry. Between them, they'd no winner last year.
No winner. And you're also after lambasting John Nealon as well. So it's been a bad week for trainers and up in the ante. Unless Gordon or Willie has got them, it's no good to Gavin Lynch.
No.
So that's it from this week's edition of Upping the Ante in association with 188bet. I've been David Jennings, he's been Gavin Lynch. My thanks to Tom Earl from our sponsors 188bet. Don't forget to join us next week when there's only 2 weeks to go until the Cheltenham Festival.